calendar for the 2023-24 750 Motor Club Sim Series. Right, hopefully you all can hear me now on the stream. Apologies for the technical difficulties that we've been having with the audio. I will just say welcome once again to the 750 Motor Club Sim Series for the second season. We're here racing on Assetto Corsa with new drivers taking part, various 750 Motor Club members from Real World Series, and a few of our friends from the sim racing world as well. Plenty of returning drivers from the 2023-24 championship as well. And if you didn't hear me at the top of the show, that does include Trafford King, who is racing on the Moser R5 bundle that he won as champion in last season as well. He was very much the forward man with 12 different wins, but he's had a little bit of competition since the arrival of Jake Hewlett as well. Everybody who remembers him from the Donington finale and also our summer event as well. He has been racking up the wins there, but of course now he's doing it on a stage where he's scoring points and competing for prizes. So maybe we'll be in for a big championship fight between Trafford and Jake. Of course, two former, or one current and one former Type R trophy racer. Jake, a former champion back in 2022. Trafford King, a novice champion from last year, and he's very much set his sights on the overall championship for next year. But there are plenty of other contenders that we should be looking out for. One of the more interesting entries is Mark Crawford from Northern Ireland, who is a former supercars racer in the 90s, former motorcycle racer in the early 2000s, before moving over to car racing in 2008, and is looking at a potential turn to the Mazda 7's championship, but has also raced in F1000 and road sports with the 750 Motor Club. Other karters include Paul Forsyth as well, who started Rotax karting in 2003 and has also raced Caterham 7s, bike engine Caterham 7s in Northern Ireland. A few youngsters as well. Ben Goodwin, whose father races in the Carmel Porsche trophy, but Ben Goodwin just 17 years old and was alongside us in the grid for the Sim Series last season as well. Will Hartley, another young driver on the grid, just 16 years old from Preston, finished 7th in last season's championship. Alex Hurren, 18 years old, a casual karter, he describes himself as, and did a handful of outings with the Sim Series last year. Had a podium finish at Alton Park in the bike sports last year, so he is definitely one to watch as an up-and-comer. Another 16-year-old is Rory Mallinson, 16-year-olds from Chester, who is now testing low-cost machinery in preparation for his first season of racing next year with the 750 Motor Club. Again, very much looking forward to seeing how he gets on out there. Jensen Swift, another youngster as well from karting, again just 16 years old, but then that is matched with the experienced drivers as well, Trafford King and Jake Hewlett, who we were talking about. We can now see the qualifying action out there. So we are on the Anglesey circuit, the coastal layout, which is the slightly shorter layout of this beautiful Anglesey circuit. And just a quick hello to everyone in the live chat room as well. Thank you for monitoring our audio issues a little bit earlier on. And do let us know who you are rooting for in these 3 races to come for tonight. And already we can see Jake Hewlett and Trafford King separated by very little at all in the dying stages of this qualifying session, just 12 thousandths of a second in favour of the 2022 Sekiwa Type R Trophy champion, leading the novice champion from the following year, and the reigning champion, of course. So Trafford King with 12 wins to his name in the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. Jake Hewlett arrived as a wildcard entry at the finale at Donington in the F1000s, and he took 2 unofficial wins because he was a guest entry, and so he wasn't actually scoring points on that one, but he did rack up 2 wins at the summer event in the 116 trophy event at Silverstone as well. So Jake is certainly a very quick driver out there in the world of sim racing, and no wonder he is a part of the Coanda Sim Sports team and has got multiple esports titles and participations in various world championships across the world, and in fact gave up his job as a fibre engineer to become a real world and sim racing coach. And so the MX5 Cup in good hands there with Jake Hewlett, but also in the hands of Trafford King as well. And in fact, Hewlett has just reduced the benchmark even further at 1:13.633 now for the Quanda Sim Sports driver. Ash Hill here in fourth position in the white and purple number 23 car. You see some drivers still struggling to get to grips with the conditions. We'll see here on this short back straight after Peel. Sorry, this is heading on to the back straight, sorry. It was just through the banking and then Church, and now on this slightly kinked back straight towards the big stop at Rocket. Take a view on board as well as he then swings into the right-hand element of Rocket. You see why it is a popular circuit here with seaside views. Now heading into the right-hander Peel, which is where we're about to see the shortcut. So you head left through Siemens. Normally you would continue heading left up towards the hairpin. You see through Siemens and then right into the corkscrew, the little shortcut. Now left through the bus stop, the final corner, and then we're back onto the start and finish straight. And Ash Hill looks like he's about to put in a quick time here. Well, he did improve. It was a 1:14.094, but still remains around 0.4 of a second away from Jake Hewlett's benchmark time. Carden in third position between them as well, Brennan and Ben Goodwin. And then Dave Martin as well, former MR2 racer, there in seventh position. Former MR2 racer and low-cost racer, and now in Mazda 7s, planning to do a second year of the more powerful 7-based series for next year, and actually a top 2% driver on iRacing. So let's see how he adapts to the Assetto Corsa platform. Of course, using Assetto Corsa with its good use of modding, which does allow us to be a little bit more flexible when it comes to reflecting the real world series of the 750 Motor Club, which of course is the primary aim for this esports championship, to show off the variety of cars that we're able to run with. As I mentioned earlier on, Mazda MX-5 Cup, Porsche Boxster S, F1000, Clio 197, Caterham Academy, Radical SR3 and BMW 125i machinery, all going to be used in the 7 different car track combinations that we run throughout this year. And Jake Hewlett, as the checkered flag falls on this session, has remained fastest. Trafford King did get a little bit closer to Jake Hewlett, but not enough to usurp him, his Type R trophy rival. So it will be Jake Hewlett on pole position for the first race of the day, and then closely followed by the reigning champion Trafford King as we get underway for the first race of a brand new season of the 750 Motor Club Sim Series, starting with the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup at Anglesey. So a short break while we get the cars ready for the first race of the season. Just a reminder, our races at Alton Park, Silverstone, Thruxton, Brands Hatch, Donington Park and Croft. 7 different car track combinations that we are running here throughout the season. And as you weren't able to hear me go through some of the news points earlier on, just while we wait for the grid to be set, I'll just remind you that the entries for the Plum Pudding races are open. Mallory Park's legendary Boxing Day race meeting. And remember, the grid is set based on the order you get your entries in. So if you haven't done it already, make sure you bag yourself a good grid spot for that. It's £180 for either category, the sports car or the saloon car category. If you're running solo, £215 for 2 drivers to share the car. That closes at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 18th of December. And also tickets are on sale for the 750 Motor Club Annual Awards presentation and dinner, celebrating the best of the 2024 season at a brand new venue. We're used to going to Shakespeare Town for the award ceremony. We'll now be going to Hinckley, the Leonardo Hotel. So do make sure you get the tickets in for that one. So almost ready to go for the first race of the season for the 750 Motor Club Sim Series Season 2, 2023-24 Championship, where we have two of the top drivers starting on the front row of the grid, Ash Hill and Jackson Carden starting on the second row of the grid, and then Shay Brennan and Ben Goodwin, Dave Martin and Callum Neve, Dan Jude and Rory Mallinson completing the top 10. And Dan Jude, another familiar face to the 750 Motor Club, the 45-year-old from Northumberland who's been racing a Lotus Elise for 15 years now, and with the 750 Motor Club largely in Club Enduro in recent years, but is planning some outings in road sports as well for next year, and was with us in the Sim Series last year, second at Alton Park in the bike sports race, and ninth in the standings after collecting 3 podiums throughout the season. And that was his first league esports competition, if you like, as it has been for a number of drivers who are looking at taking sim racing a little bit more seriously. In fact, Trafford King, the reigning champion, before last season, hadn't really done much in the way of serious sim racing, but is now maybe thinking he can give that a bit more of a go in 2025 as well, given his clear talent for the profession. The 30-year-old from York. Drivers joining from all over as well. We have drivers from Liverpool, such as Dave Martin. But now we're ready to go for the first race of the night for the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. Race number 1 of the Mazda MX-5 Cup at Anglesey. We have the lights on and lights out, and a very even start. Oh, one car going off in the background already. It does look like Ash Hill has got the whole shot on Trafford King, though, to take second position in the orange car going into the first corner. And so the reigning champion has been usurped to the first corner, and it looks like Jackson Carden is trying to make his way around the outside as well, but wasn't quite able to do so. So it is Jake Hewlett who leads, Ash Hill in second position, Trafford King and Jackson Carden all very close together, with Ben Goodwin in 5th position with a bit of a gap between himself and it's Jackson Carden who managed to get the better of these starts, my apologies, in the orange car, but now breaking very, very deep there was Ash Hill in the number 23 car, and that almost turned into an overtaking opportunity alongside Trafford King. So it's Jake Hewlett, then Jackson Carden from 4th to 2nd, but there's contact between himself and Trafford King, who goes spearing off the road. The reigning champion is facing the wrong way halfway through the first lap of a new season of racing. Great news for Jake Hewlett, as that's opened up quite a bit of a gap between himself and Ash Hill. And so what on earth happened there on the exit of the Peel corner? By the looks of it, it all went wrong for Jackson Carden and Trafford King. And so at the end of the first lap, 1 second is Jake Hewlett's advantage ahead of Ash Hill. And then Shay Brennan is now up into 3rd position ahead of Ben Goodwin, with Callum Neve and Dan Jude, Dave Martin, Rory Mallinson, Paul Forsyth and Alex Hurren inside the top 10. This is Dan Jude, who has got very close company behind him in the form of Dave Martin for 6th position. You see that is the closest battle up at the front of the field at the moment. After that contact seemed to spread the cars out a little bit, and so Dave Martin there, the Liverpudlian, trying to go on the inside, and does manage to make that move stick on Dan Jude, although Jude has a little look up the inside going into the right-hand element of the Rocket Chicane. Doesn't quite manage to make that one stick. So the Lotus Elise racer losing a place there, and Rory Mallinson looking very close behind him as well, as Dan Jude goes a little bit wide into Peel. Does that open up the door for Mallinson to go through? It very nearly did. They made contact, and Mallinson ends up losing a couple of places there as a result of that going into the corkscrew. He's managed to recover one of those with relative ease. It was Paul Forsyth who managed to go through there, the former Sevens racer from Northern Ireland, up into 8th position now. So Rory Mallinson regaining his composure after losing that spot to Alex Hurren, the 18-year-old from Surrey. Podium finisher in our bike sports event at Alder Park last season, closing up for 4th position now though with Callum Neve. Closing up on Ben Goodwin, the 17-year-old from London, and it's going to be Neve on the inside going into the rocket chicane. And Goodwin's not taking this one lying down. Neve has to go the long way around the right-hander. Should be able to straighten the car up nicely. A little bit of panel rubbing between them on the exit of the corner. A beautiful move there from Callum Neve, the 25-year-old from Stockton-on-Tees, a British Indoor Karting Championship Regional finalist before starting his Pro Kart series in September. And this is his first league event in the world of esports. And he's kicked things off very nicely with a great move for 4th position. 1.6 seconds the gap for Jake Hewlett up at the front of the field. Andrew Cooper a little bit further back in 12th position. Oh, this is Trafford King on the recovery, down in 20th place. Just put a move there on Jamie Peters-Ennis, and he's also going to pick up a free place there on what looks to be Mark Crawford as well, who went off at the first corner. So that should be 2 up for Trafford King. It is indeed. He's up into 18th position after that first corner, or first lap contact, I should say, speared him off the road. And of course, the reprieve for him will be that he will still start on the front row of the grid for races 2 and 3. It's a different format to how we set the grids from last season, as it would have been his race 2 result that set the grid for, his race 1 result that set the grid for race 2 last season. But he does get another go at it, starting from the front row of the grid as Ben Goodwin continues to struggle out there a little wide through the corkscrew. That's going to wrong foot him through the bus stop and put Dave Martin close on his tail as Jake Hewlett does the fastest lap of the race. No surprises there. 2.2 seconds now clear of Ash Hill, but off goes Dave Martin there on the exit of the first corner as he was tucked right up behind Ben Goodwin, and so he loses quite a bit of ground and was not in a position to overtake when they got to the second corner at the banking. So the Mazda 7's driver having to wait a little bit longer before he can make the move. So further down, Will Hartley there in 11th position, the 16-year-old from Preston. Rory Mallinson continuing to make up places there. He's just put a move on Alex Hurren. So Mallinson up into 9th position. 2 of our young guns going at it there. The 16-year-old as Trafford King makes up another place, this time on James Madden, the now former Formula V racer, as he sold his car after his one and only appearance of the season in the VW Beetle-based series at Croft. Battles all the way up and down the order with Mad Chip leading Rory Turner and Chapman there in 14th, 15th and 16th respectively. Trafford King just doing his personal best, but still lapping in the 114s, whereas Jake Hewlett, race leader, in the 113s, and so still a little bit of work to do for Trafford King. It's the top 20 that score points though, so he won't come away from this race empty-handed if it were to finish as is, as we're just approaching half race distance now. As Fen Chapman looks to make a move against Turner, and it looked like there was a little bit of contact on the straight heading up towards Rocket, but a big outbraking maneuver. It just about got it stopped, and arriving on the scene now is Trafford King, and so he's about to get very busy for the reigning champion. So his first target, Ryan Turner, the 31-year-old from Bedfordshire, who has described himself as a casual sim racer, has been out in some cars on the real world track, but just track days, and hoping to do some rounds of the track day trophy next year, having karted from a very young age. Trafford King on the inside into the first corner. Turner's not really taking that line down. He's making the reigning champion work hard for it into the banking, but runs very deep into the hairpin corner, and being wise to that one, the old up and under, and quite easily takes the place there in the end. So that is now 16th place for Trafford King. Looks like we've had enough for Paul Forsyth. There he is, just moving slowly on the back straight, and is going to lose a couple more places as a result of that. Just lost one to Mad Chip and Fen Chapman trying to go around the outside as well. And Trafford King is going to be the next car in the queue, the green car. So Forsyth trying not to yield another place. Open door for Trafford King. Barges his way through at Peel and into 15th position. And so for Forsyth, he's he's just lost place after place after place after place on this lap. Was somewhere near the top 10 before that happened. Meanwhile, Jackson Carden, the other car that made contact on the opening lap of the race with Trafford King, up in 11th position. So he came off far better than Trafford King in that, and has just taken 11th place away from Andrew Cooper, and now trying to get his way past Will Hartley for a spot in the top 10. Just over 5 minutes left on the clock in this race. The races do go by very, very quickly indeed, as Rory Mallinson, the grass track racer, now making the step up to low cost for next year, and was significantly younger than his grass track rivals in the Junior Saloon Championship, about 10 years younger than his rivals, but nonetheless a race winner there, and a top 2% driver on the last 3 Formula One games. But that was a slow moving car that he just had to round up at the bus stop there, and might have been a lapped car, because it's still showing Mallinson in 8th position there, as Jackson Carden has made his way into the top 10 ahead of Will Hartley while we were watching that one. Trafford King in the thick of the action now, so he's got ahead of Fen Chapman, and now looking at the back of Mad Chip, who joined us for the summer event earlier in the year. Nice line out of Church and onto the back straight, nibbling at the heels of Mad Chip's MX-5, draws alongside, going up towards the chicane at Rocket. It'll be on the outside line, so it's going to be a big outbraking manoeuvre. Has to leave plenty of space, as Chip was running just a little bit wide. The track eventually comes to him, but it doesn't really do him any favours, as he's still not quite ahead. And in fact, Chip was the one with the exit there. King able to barge his way through on Peel, but still isn't quite able to do so. And I think that Fen Chapman was able to take both of them there, but Mad Chip getting back down the inside into the corkscrew. He runs wide as a result. Trafford King picks up 1 place. Can he make it 2 on the outside of the bus stop? Takes a little bit of grass on the exit curbing there as well for good measure, but Mad Chip still holding it on the inside for the first corner. This is absolutely fantastic, and once again Trafford King finds the grass, gets it all sideways, gathers it up, and doesn't quite take the place away from Mad Chip. And James Madden, now in the red car, is the one who's entered the fray, the Formula V racer. Absolutely cracking stuff as we go through. Sorry, it's James Madden in the red car, excuse me. The Formula V racer, and he's now going to try and take a place on Trafford King, although King's quite wise to that one going into Rocket. But a big outbraking manoeuvre, and for the second time in this race, Trafford King finds himself facing the wrong way. James Madden is unfortunately collected in that one as well, and that was just a outbraking himself moment from one of the white cars behind. I believe was Fen Chapman, but I don't want to call him the guilty party without being certain of it. So a couple of cars that are running the same liveries. So either way, this has been an absolutely dismal start to the title defence for Trafford King. Not necessarily of his own making. Certainly the second contact wasn't. Here is Ash Hill in second position now, 4 seconds back from race leader Jake Hewlett, and you can see they're lapping some of the traffic. One of the best looking cars out there, that purple and white car. Shea Brennan is still very close there for second position, and I think we will have 2 laps to go, because Jake Hewlett should just be about to start the penultimate lap of the race. A lap time around 1 minute 13, 1 minute 14, so we will get 2 more laps out of this one. And battle is on for second position between Ash Hill and Shea Brennan. And as far as I can tell, 2 newcomers to the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. There's more contact for James Madden further down in the pack, and it looks like Jamie Peters-Ennis is the one that he's made contact with down at the corkscrew. So that hasn't really worked out too well for him at all. Trafford King here, still circulating in 15th place, so still getting some points there. And he will be able to start on the front row of the grid for races 2 and 3. Jackson Carden, who Trafford King made contact with on the opening lap, in 8th position, trying to make it 7th against Alex Hurren. And Rory Mallinson just in front of them as well. And so he's got the 18-year-old and the 16-year-old just in front of him, does Carden. Lunge on the inside of the corkscrew, doesn't quite manage to make the move stick, but does put off Hurren in front of him. And does that give him the run into the first corner? They're going to go side by side as we are now on the final lap of the race, and a bit of lap traffic to have to try and navigate in that as well. And Carden has to go through the middle. Arum scarum moment going into the banking for the final time in this race. But not quite enough momentum there for Carden to try and pull the move off. Through Church now, and a much tighter line for Carden as they head on to the back straight, the longest flat out section of the racetrack. And he does pull alongside. He's trying to squeeze him over to the inside. And is he going to out-drag him by the time they get there? Well, it's a big out-braking maneuver from Hurren. He runs deep, and that might have allowed Carden to get the crisscross on him, but meanwhile Jake Hewlett has been absolutely unperturbed in this one and takes his first official victory in the 750 Motor Club Sim Series in the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup race at Anglesey. Ash Hill gets second position, only just ahead of Shea Brennan in the end. A very close battle with Callum Neve in 4th, Dave Martin in 5th position, and Rory Mallinson should just about hang on to 6th position ahead of Jackson Carden. He does, and Carden did get that place away from Alex Hurren on the last lap of the race. Battles continue all the way down to the rear of the field, with Jensen Swift trying to get ahead of James Madden. Jensen Swift, another of the youngsters out there, the 16-year-old, best finish of 8th for him in the Sim Series last season. Nowhere near that in this one, unfortunately, and it will be 20th place just behind James Madden. And the checkered flag. So, wow, what a start. What a start to proceedings for the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. So, Rory Mallinson, I was just checking to see what that result means in terms of his previous result, but of course making his debut out there. And so first blood goes to Jake Hewlett, with Ash Hill and Shea Brennan joining him on the podium. But of course the battle will resume in race number 2, with Trafford King heading back up there, and so he has another opportunity to take the fight to Jake Hewlett and try and get a better launch, I think, and make sure that he doesn't get collected up with Jackson Carden for that race. But a very eventful start to proceedings for season 2 of the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. So maiden podiums for Ash Hill and Shay Brennan as well, just behind Jake Hewlett, who, of course, we talked about earlier, Type R Trophy champion in his debut season after making the conversion from sim racing to the real world, and a Quanda Sim Sport member since 2017. And his first official win in the Sim Series, and what I mean by that, the 2 wins he grabbed at Donington at the end of last season. He was a guest entry, so he wasn't scoring points, so he's got 2 unofficial wins and 2 wins at the summer event as well, which was a non-championship meeting in the 116 trophies Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. So in terms of point scoring events, that's his first win, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from Jake before we head onto the grid for race number 2. But while we wait for the grid to be set, a bit more news from the 750 Motor Club, and this is something that the home of affordable motorsport is just so incredibly excited about. New series for 2025, the Swift Sports Challenge, a new entry-level formula with absolutely minimum costs for the entrants. And when we talk about the home of affordable motorsport, this is next level of affordable motorsport. Road going cars, fewer test days, removing costly data loggers as well. The team challenge, which will allow for drivers to share cars. There is a foundation program as well for fully built cars with entry fees and registration costs discounted, as well as a novice supplement as well for your ARDS test and a race kit package. And we are incredibly excited to see a full field of those Mark 1 1.6 litre Suzuki Swift Sports take to the grid next year. They have had a few outings in some other races, but a full grid of them is going to be very exciting indeed. And we've also just announced the partnership with Tekiwa, who will have the Yellow Speed racing kit suspension on the cars as well, and a technical partnership with Absolute Alignment as well. They will have a dedicated space in the paddock at every round of the championship, where competitors can get the equipment and the guidance they need to run their own cars. And so that is going to be a very, very exciting platform for new racers to come through. Very much the home of affordable motorsports there. Also, some changes to other series. The Bike Sports is being rebranded for 2025. Alluded to this one earlier. The Radical Club Challenge, which will be represented in the Sim Series this season with the Radical SR3. But meanwhile, we have lights on for race number 2 in Anglesey. And we are back racing once again with Trafford King. Once again, not quite getting off the line as he would have hoped. And again, it is Jackson Carden who makes his way around the outside to try and take second position away. It's almost an absolute carbon copy of race number 1. This time, Trafford King tries to go around the outside. And it's Ben Goodwin who's taken 4 ahead of Ash Hill. So that's a slight disturbance of the order we saw in race 1 earlier on. Same Jake Hewlett leading the way, but Trafford King still looking at the back of Jackson Carden, and so he'll be very wary of what happened in the previous race as they head up side by side along this back straight and towards Rocket once again. And Trafford King will have the inside line. And how hard is Carden going to make it for him? He does yield the spot as Ash Hill tries to take 4th place back away from Ben Goodwin in that purple and white car. But it is Goodwin who comes out on top and has the inside line for Peel as well. Runs out a little bit wide. That could give Ash Hill just a little bit of momentum heading towards Siemens and the corkscrew for the first time in this race. So Ben Goodwin, the 17-year-old from London, whose father races in the Carmel Porsche Trophy, getting a blinder of a start there from 6th on the grid up into 4th and ahead of Ash Hill, who's down from 3rd to 5th. Game on, though, for the podium places as Jake Hewlett only led by about 0.3 of a second at the end of the first lap from Trafford King. And we know how fired up he's going to be after a dismal start to his night of racing in race number 1. He's really going to want to take the fight to Hewlett in this race. Two Type R trophy racers that lead the field ahead of Jackson Carden. We got 3 cars vying for the lead, 3 cars vying for 4th position behind them as well. So Paul Forsyth tries to make a move on Rory Mallinson there to get a spot inside the top 10. Forsyth makes his way through. The Northern Irishman, former Sevens racer, who did his first esports series this year, the Caterham Racing Sim Championship. Again, we have 3 wide now out of Pill and towards Siemens, and James Madden coming off a little bit worse. One car going off in the background as well, but fastest lap of the race done by Trafford King, as well, that was I think that was James Madden nerfing off one of his rivals. That might have been Jamie Peter-Zenis who came off worse in that one. But fastest lap of the race set by second place driver Trafford King. The gap 0.6 of a second though. And so this 3-car battle for 4th continues as well, being led by Ben Goodwin, and then Ash Hill and Shay Brennan. And so 2 drivers who finished on the podium in race 1, currently 5th and 6th. That's Peter Forsyth. Sorry, Paul Forsyth, I should say. Just lost that top 10 spot back to Rory Mallinson, who has come back at the North Irishman and reclaimed that top 10 spot. And so very much a youth versus experience battle there. Rory Mallinson, the 16-year-old. Paul Forsyth, 42-year-old from Balaclare. Although when one talks about experience, they are much more closely matched when it comes to their esports careers. Alex Hurren was fighting for the top 10 in race 1. Not had the best of starts to this race, down in 19th position at the moment, but he's about to make it 18th. Oh, not quite, against Mark Crawford. They're going into the banking, although Crawford's just made that job quite a bit easier, running wide on the exit of the corner, and Hurren goes through. Side by side now for 4th position as Ash Hill draws up alongside Ben Goodwin. They bang panels. Left rear to front right, but it is Ash Hill, the podium finisher from race number 1, who emerges on top, and that little squabble there has brought a flow of cars back into contention as well. Shay Brennan, that's Dave Martin and Callum Neve for very close company indeed. So it's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, all in a train, heading through the corkscrew. Ben Goodwin getting it all done through the right-hander, taking track limits to the extreme there. It doesn't seem to have actually cost him that much time. Jake Hewlett now does the fastest lap of the race, extends the gap to 0.8 of a second, but we're ensnared by this battle for 4th position. 2 very different lines from Hill and Goodwin going into the banking. Shane Brennan trying to repel the advances of Dave Martin as well. Coming right on board as well with Ben Goodwin as they head up the straight towards Rocket. The top 3 spacing out a little bit there. This is certainly the closest battle on the track, and once again Goodwin trying to get on the inside as Dave Martin there got a brilliant move done on Shay Brennan just behind them as well, with a big lunge on the inside. Great stuff from the Master 7's competitor. Putting our race 1 podium for Shay Brennan there. Callum Neve waiting in the wings as well to see if it's all going to go wrong. The Pro Sports karter in his first league esports event. Dave Martin also in purple and green. great bit of racecraft there as Will Hartley here fighting for a place in the top 10 earlier on, has Andrew Cooper in his sights. And all getting a little crossed up through the exit of the banking, and that has scuppered any hopes that he had of putting some pressure on Cooper for 14th position, and actually might leave him rather exposed to James Madden just behind him. This is a long run and it's uphill as well, so momentum is everything. James Madden did very much arrive on the tail of Hartley there. But, now looks like Andrew Cooper is the one getting it wrong out of the right-hander. In fact, Will Hartley did take that position. And Chapman now between Paul Forsyth and Rory Mallons, who we saw squabbling for that last spot inside the top 10. Still looking very close in the battle for 4th position as well, with Ash Hill and Ben Goodwin separated by only tenths of a second when they came over the timing line. Oh, that's a big moment for Andrew Cooper. Will Hartley, James Madden and Alex Hurren all go through the exit of the first corner. You see, since Will Hartley made that little mistake on the exit of the banking a lap ago, he hasn't been able to shake off Madden and Hurren. Ben Goodwin making a lunge on the inside at Rocket, runs off the circuit, and it's going to get very tight as the cars behind are also squabbling. So Dave Martin and Shea Brennan all go through. Can Callum Neve also do the same with the green car on the inside? No, Ben Goodwin's not going to take that line down, but the inside line for Peel comes to Neve. That inside line will then become Ben Goodwin's as they head into the left-hander of Siemens and then into the corkscrew. And so Ben Goodwin does just about recover one of those positions, but it was a big outbraking maneuver as he tried to pass Ash Hill and ended up losing 2 places as a result of that as well. So punch and very much counter punch, and that's what you've got to be careful about with pack racing. If you make the lunge and it goes wrong, well, then you've got to be prepared to be absolutely swarmed by the cars behind them. So Dave Martin now and Shea Brennan going side by side through Church for 5th position, and it's Brennan on the outside with the momentum and manages to clear Dave Martin's car by the time they get out of the corner. And so that is very, very brave stuff from Shea Brennan. And Ben Goodwin once again breaking very deep for Rocket and did draw an overlap. He's going to make this one work on the inside of Dave Martin at the right-hander, and that was great stuff. And can Callum Neve be the one to take advantage of that on the inside of Peel? Yes, he does. And Dan Jude has also joined the party as well in 9th position. And so the 45-year-old from Northumberland, the Lotus Elise racer, at the back of this queue now with 5 minutes left on the clock, as race leader Jake Hewlett does another fastest lap of the race of 1:13.4, stretches his gap to 1.6 seconds over Trafford King. We're seeing very much punch and counter punch in this fantastic battle for 4th position, which is quickly becoming a battle for 5th, as Ash Hill has been able to stretch 1.7 seconds over Shea Brennan while they've been squabbling. And so Ben Goodwin is very much the car under pressure, with Callum Neve, Dave Martin and Dan Jude all in close proximity. So Goodwin, we've seen him run very, very deep into Rocket on the past couple of laps. Can Callum Neve outbrake him on the inside? Yes, he can. But the inside line will still be Goodwin's when they get to the right-hander, and so he is just able to hang on to 6th position for now. So Callum Neve still piling on the pressure in that green car. The indoor karter turned outdoor karter with Pro Sport. James Madden trying to get around Ryan Turner. And Callum Neve has lost the spot to Dave Martin through the first corner, and Martin's completed that move into the banking. And the Master 7's racer up a spot, has to defend it on the inside. Church, and Dan Jude might be the one to take advantage of that, although Callum Neve is fighting back. We do have some lap traffic at play here as well, and Neve very nearly gets boxed in behind that, and does have to settle in just behind Dave Martin in the end. It's getting very busy down at the right-hander as cars come through to lap some of the traffic. But less than 3 minutes left on the clock now. The closest battle on track does seem to now be between Dave Martin and Callum Neve for 7th position. Dan Jude still waiting in the wings as we have more lap traffic to try and navigate around the outside of the corkscrew. Dave Martin might well get squeezed out here. Callum Neve has a much easier time of getting around the back marker, and that could give him some momentum. Well, Dan Jude seems to have a very easy time of it as well. Dan Jude coming through the middle. Incredible! And so that looks like Dan Jude up into 8th position. Yes, it is. So a wonderful move there. Oh, gets it very sideways through the banking, and that could cost him a spot. Rory Mallinson and Ben Chapman are also on the scene as well. Chapman's up a spot on Mallinson into 10th position, but I don't think they've gotten ahead of Callum Neve just yet. No, they haven't. But Neve is going to try and take that place away from Dan Jude straight away. Only a couple of laps remaining now, and it's Neve once again on the inside of Rocket. Runs very, very deep. A little bit of contact between them. And Ben Chapman takes an opportunity on that, and then but he gets tagged around by Dan Jude, and Ben Chapman trying to take advantage of that manoeuvre from Callum Neve. Ends up getting a tag from Dan Jude, and he spins round and drops down to 13th position as a result of that. Well, it's been all drama in the lower fringes of the top 10, but less than a minute to go now, and I believe Jake Hewlett is now on his final lap of the race. So when we get across the timing line, we'll get confirmation shortly. But the top 10 places are still not settled as Paul Forsyth now tries to look at the back of Dan Jude, following up on his contact. Dan Jude, the Club Enduro racer in his Lotus Elise, Paul Forsyth, the Sevens racer, and it's the North Irishman who goes a little bit wide on the exit of Church Corner, and so that has dashed any hopes he had of trying to make a move on Dan Jude going into Rocket. Here's Trafford King in second position, has closed the gap a little bit while Jake Hewlett has been lapping traffic, but now Jake Hewlett starts his final lap of the race with 10 seconds left on the clock, and the gap still hovering around 1 second between the two Type R Trophy racers, with Jackson Carden in third position, some 4 seconds back from Trafford King. Ryan Turner and Mark Crawford battle for 19th position. It's Turner in the green car on the inside of Peel, but the advantage then swings to Crawford. And it's James King, the Armed Forces Race Challenge driver, who is just behind them as well. Official IMSA champion on iRacing, which he's been competing on for 11 years, and runs the RAF esports team and organises the Armed Forces Virtual Race Challenge. Paul Forsyth, it looks like he's lost his best opportunity to try and get past Dan Jude. I spoke too soon because Jude went far too deep into Rocket, and Forsyth tried to get around the outside, but it's back-to-back victories for Jake Hewlett in the 7th Club Sim Series 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup race at Anglesey. Trafford King, a much better result for him in second position. Jackson Carden in third position picks up his first podium of the season, with Ash Hill in fourth, Shea Brennan fifth. Ben Goodwin in 6th, Dave Martin 7th, Callum Neve in 8th, Dan Jude just about crosses the line in 9th position, Rory Mallinson inside the top 10. He took that place on the final lap of the race from Paul Forsyth there. So again, fantastic racing all the way through the field as the last few cars meet the checkered flag. Ryan Turner there, 19th position, did get that move done, but it is back-to-back victories for Jake Hewlett. Absolutely unstoppable, the 31-year-old from Leicestershire. Of course, not just used to racing in Type R's, has been racing Clio Cup in Britcar, as well as the Racing Hondas series this year as well, but very much accomplished in the world of esports, and now has 2 official 750 Motor Club Sim Series to his name as well. And of course, leading the championship as a result of that will likely be a bit of a gap to Trafford King. But of course, he has been able to limit some of the damage that was done in race 1 earlier on with that 2nd place finish, but doesn't still seem to be able to match the pace of Jake Hewlett, who has just been rather unstoppable since arriving in the 750 Motor Club. And of course, great results there as well for Jackson Carden, his first podium. Ash Hill there, and Ben Goodwin, just looking to see where he is, because he had 2 podium finishes in last season's championship, but just 6th for him. Dave Martin, the low-cost and Master 7s racer, in 7th position, and then Callum Neve, the indoor turned outdoor karter, and then Dan Jude, 3-time podium finisher in the 750 Motor Club Sim Series, but 9th for him. And Rory Mallinson, again, showing his nerve inside the top 10. And so one final 15-minute race to come. We say that these events really do fly by. So we will just have a short break while we get the cars over to another server for race 3, actually. And I can see some of you guys in the live chat room. Alicia Watson is very happy that Jake Hewlett has won the race there. John Power, former racer in the 750 Motor Club Sim Series, just a spectator, it seems, for this season, hoping that Trafford King rocks it. And yeah, we have quite a few supporters there in the live chat room. I do keep your comments coming in. We do love hearing from you. Right, now, during the last break, I was talking about the Radical Club Challenge, where I was rudely interrupted by the start of race number 2. But that, of course, is being rebranded for 2025. And in conjunction with Radical Motorsport, we're introducing the SR1 category. In the same specification, you'll find it in the Haggerty Radical Cup UK as well. So in addition to the SR3, the PR6, the Club Sport, and the Pro Sport models that you currently see inside the Bike Sports Championship, we will also have the SR1 model in the newly rebranded Radical Club Challenge. And as I say, that will be represented in the Sim Series this year with the Radical SR3 at Donington Park on the national layout on the 21st of January, the penultimate meeting of the season for the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. Other news events to come as well. Mighty Minis joining the 750 Motor Club bill in 2025. Mighty Minis, a landmark 30th year of competition for them. It's a new look Mighty Minis as well. Not just new organisers, but there'll be various technical changes to the championship coming for next year. But now under the banner of the 750 Motor Club, having done a few guest appearances at select events throughout the last 3 years. And in fact, the series founder, Roger Tello, said it just made sense. And so we are very much looking forward to welcoming Mighty Minis full-time to the 750 Motor Club bill. More information about them can be found on the website as well, 750mc.co.uk, for news about all of our various different formulas. If you're thinking about racing something, there is probably something there for you at the home of affordable motorsport. So if you're discovering us from this esports realm, this is relatively new for us, the second season of the 750 Motor Club Sim series. And as I talked about earlier, we have plenty of sim racing converts now joining the club racing scene. One of them is George King, who got himself a sim racing rig during lockdown in 2020, then became a real world racing driver in the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup. And now you'll find him racing prototypes across Europe and also tackling the Dubai 24 hours as well. So if you want to be just like him, then maybe you should look into taking your odds test and coming racing with the 750 Motor Club. We go racing all across the UK with a huge variety of different cars, from a sort of rung what you brung various series where there's a home for anything like Club Enduro, which is probably the best value for motorsport money in the country. More on that later, though, as we have the final race of the night ready to get underway, and Jake Hewlett will once again starting from position, and it's a good start from pole sitter, but it's side by side for second position further back, and so that looks like Ben Goodwin, who has jumped up into Jackson Carden, it's different liveries because we're on a different server, and so it was once again Trafford King not getting the best of starts. Maybe he needs to sort that clutch pedal out, because that's 3 iffy starts he's had, and it's Ash Hill going around the outside. So he's battled with Jackson Carden on the opening lap for the first 2 races. Now it's Ash Hill trying to get around the outside. And I'm sure Trafford King, reigning champion, will not take that line down, so he's trying to fight back on the run up towards Rocket, but side by side for the lead. Jake Hewlett, for the first time, is actually being challenged in one of these races, and it's Jackson Carden, the newcomer, who's going to mount that challenge to him and practically push him through the right-hand element, side by side for third position behind them, as well, with Ben Goodwin trying to show his nose in that fight as well. Trafford King on the inside appeal against Ash Hill in the white and red car. And it is Trafford King who emerges in third position, and so a little bit of damage limitation done there by Trafford King to try and hang on to a podium spot at the very least. But Ben Goodwin and Dave Martin are all right in the thick of the action here in this podium battle, with Callum Neve just sat there in 7th position, leading another battle of Rory Mallinson and Stockton as well, with Alex Horan just behind them as well. But the battle for third reigns on, with Dave Martin at the back of the queue in 6th position, looking at the back of Ben Goodwin. The up and under at the banking, trying to get the run up towards Church, and there is barely anything between them as they head to the high-speed right-hander. Thrilling stuff in one of these MX5 cars, but it does look like Ben Goodwin has got the legs to keep Dave Martin at bay, even with that slipstream all the way up the hill. Covering the inside, Dave Martin thought about the move on the inside, but it looks like Goodwin's gone very, very deep. Hasn't just been able to find the escape road, he's found the grass as well, and so he loses the place to Martin, he loses the place to Neve, he loses the place to Mallinson as well. Ben Goodwin seemingly still with struggles for braking for Rocket, and is now down in 9th position, or 8th position. It could well be 9th now, with Stockton on the inside, trying to find his way through. Alex Stockton, the 30-year-old from York, first time we've seen him up there at racing on iRacing and Assetto Corsa usually, and Stockton with a good move, and Mallinson, not Mallinson, sorry, Alex Hurren trying to find his way through as well. Oh, a spin though for Ben Goodwin, or a half spin at the very least, and looked like Fen Chapman was the one who just nudged him there, as Ben Goodwin bangs wheels once again. And that was with Dan Jude, both in the red and white cars. It's Goodwin who's just come out on top of that one. Big thanks to Tamsin Green, who tells me that Shay Brennan, at 16 years of age, is going into his rookie season in the Suzuki Swifts next year. So that's wonderful. We're going to have a real stellar driver there in the new Swift Sports Challenge for next year. Although sadly I can't actually see where Shay Brennan, down in 16th position at the moment. Not sure what he's doing down there, but There he is, the orange car. Yeah, not sure what he's doing down there, but still very much looking forward to seeing him racing in the Swift Challenge in 2025. Trafford King doing the fastest lap of the race in 3rd position. He's just 0.4 of a second away from Jackson Carden. Or even less than that now. Trying to see where they are on the track. I think they're absolutely nose to tail coming out of Church, and so could be a change for 2nd position. Oh, they're both off for the 3rd time tonight. Trafford King has had contact and has dropped down the order. It's nowhere near as bad this time for Trafford King. So that promotes Dave Martin up to the podium places. Jackson Carden has been able to continue in 4th, but Trafford King down to 6th position. Rory Mallinson for very close company on the exit of Rocket as well. But wow, what a dismal day for Trafford King. That continues. So James Madden in a Rory Turner and Shea Brennan sandwich coming through Siemens and then into the corkscrew. And it's Shea Brennan with a ambitious move into corkscrew. Coming through the first corner. Brennan not really able to do anything with that. Just keeping an eye on what's happening up at the front of the field. Because although Dave Martin inherited those places, he's not far behind. Trafford King trying to undo some of the damage, first of all with a move on Callum Neve for 5th position, and it looks like he's out-dragged Neve there before they even get to the braking zone. He has done indeed. So King up now into 5th position and demotes the Pro Sports Carter. Only 0.7 of a second between Ash Hill and Dave Martin for 2nd position. In fact, Dave Martin doing a personal best last time around, taking another 10th out of Hill. Both now 4 seconds behind race leader Jake Hewlett, though, and so I should have said that Ash Hill was promoted into a podium position as well after the contact between Carden and Trafford King. No, sorry, the contact was between Hill and King, wasn't it? Excuse me. But Hill making his way up towards Rocket, and we can get an onboard view here as we can see there Ash Hill getting it a little bit wrong through the left-hander at Rocket, and that will incentivize Dave Martin to try and challenge on the inside. Already approaching half race distance in this one. You can see the ebb and flow of this circuit. They're the right-hander at the corkscrew, hit the crest of the hill. Amazing how much elevation change there is, bearing in mind how close we are to the sea here. Of course, this track, the perpetual host of the Race of Remembrance, where you'll see plenty of the 750 Motor Club drivers also taking part. So the up and under there for Dave Martin, the Liverpudlian, about to start his 2nd year of Mazda 7s, planning to anyway. Alex Hurren trying to bag another top 10 finish here. He's got Ben Goodwin just behind him and Stockton just in front of him. And that pair about 3 seconds back from Rory Mallinson. Was 10th in race 2, 6th in race 1. Hurren with that tight line, trying to find his way through at Peel. Now into Siemens and back into the corkscrew. Ben Goodwin getting very close behind him as well. 3-car scrap here for 8th position. See the speed they carry into the first corner. It's incredible stuff as Dan Jude looked to just make a little mistake there on the exit of turn 1 just behind them. Dropped to place to Fen Chapman, but this is on board with Alex Hurren as he soaks up the slipstream. Listening in through Church, a fantastic high-speed right-hander onto this back straight. And so soaking up the slipstream as they rise up to the top of the hill. Braking now at no way through. Looks like a squad place is happening. Ash Hill and Dave Martin. They've just swapped positions a couple of times. In fact, Dave Martin now down to 3rd position. Jackson Carden seems to have taken an advantage over whatever happens on that lap. And Trafford King is right in the thick of it as well. So it's really close now for 2nd position. Ash Hill leads that train of cars over the line. It's now Jackson Carden in 3rd position with Dave Martin dropping to 4th after what seems to be a attempted pass for 2nd on Ash Hill. Trafford King right in there as well as Carden comes to the outside of the banking. Tries to get the up and under. Ash Hill very wise to that one and narrows up on the exit. But it does seem like the momentum is with Carden at the moment as he throws it to the inside at Church. This is going to be very, very careful. We've seen cars make contact here earlier on in the day. They both survive. And Jackson Carden does have that momentum and he pulls clear into 2nd position. Dave Martin trying to get in on this as well. Pulling to the outside. Trafford King got to be very, very careful as well. He's had plenty of contact already today, but he's side by side with Martin for 4th. Going to be on the outside line for the right-hander. Can't do anything with that though. And so after all that, it is Jackson Carden now up into 2nd position and pulling away from Ash Hill. A lunge on the inside from Trafford King at Peel on Dave Martin for 4th position. Not quite going to pan out for him though, as the track will now come at Siemens to Dave Martin, but it doesn't matter. Trafford King around the outside and now with the line into the corkscrew. Fantastic stuff from Trafford King. So brilliant move there from the reigning champion. Gets himself up into 4th position. That's probably the hardest he's had to work for a place in all of the 750 Motor Club Sim Series races. So 2 changes there on that lap in the battle for 2nd position as the battle for 9th continues on, but less than 3 minutes left on the clock. Stockton on the back of Alex Hurren now with Ben Goodwin and Fen Chapman all in close proximity. And rising up the hill. And once again, it's going to be side by side with Stockton out dragging. Oh, looked like a little bit of a rub there. Ben Goodwin arriving backwards at the scene. Not for the first time he's been on the escape road there. This race really hasn't gone to plan for Ben Goodwin. Battle for 2nd continues. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Jackson Carden will be the one to lead them over the line. 0.7 of a second ahead of Ash Hill, Trafford King and Dave Martin, with Rory Mallinson essentially closing up as well if he keeps punching in times like that. 1.7 seconds back from Dave Martin, but just did a personal best last time around. Meanwhile, race leader Jake Hewlett about to make it 3 from 3. If he'll be able to go for the 10 consecutive wins that Trafford King managed in last season's, where he did 3 clean sweeps of race victories in a night. And that's exactly how Jake Hewlett is going to be starting off his title charge in the 2023-24 Sim Series. As Fen Chapman trying to get around the outside of Alex Hurren for the last spot, or for 9th position, I should say. Hurren on the outside in the white car, Chapman on the inside in yellow, Dan Jude just behind them in red. Dan Jude trying to take advantage of a little wide moment there from Fen Chapman, but was unable to do so. Will Hartley just behind them with Jensen Swift just in front of him, and Ben Goodwin, the recovering Ben Goodwin, the double recovering Ben Goodwin in 15th. So Trafford King now trying to find another spot here, trying to get himself back onto the podium. He's very, very close here with Ash Hill on the run back up towards Rocket. And King's been able to make a couple of good moves here, but this is not going to be one of them. Cuts back underneath Ash Hill. Tries the up and under again through the right-hander. Of course, got to be careful for Dave Martin just behind them as well. As I think we are going to squeeze one more lap out of this. As Jake Hewlett's 8 seconds up the road. And King, again, being able to find the good momentum out of Peel. Not able to replicate the move he put on Dave Martin because he was on the other line that time around, the outside line for the corkscrew. But he's not giving up on a podium place as we now enter the final lap and the final race of the first meeting of the 750 Motor Club Sim Series. And Dave Martin hasn't given up on a podium place either as Trafford King goes to the outside of the banking on Ash Hill. Tries to get the up and under. Dave Martin following his line there, but Trafford King practically pushing Ash Hill out of the banking and heading up towards Church. He's going to go on for the outside line. Has to yield a little bit of time there, but a beautiful up and under. Should be able to get the run. Looked like Ash Hill had to take a little bit of the curbing there, but again, Trafford's going to find himself on the outside line when they get to the braking zone, unless he can out-drag Hill when they get there. Oh, he's trying to move across. He does just about. Hill nudges the back of the reigning champion's car, and it runs a little bit wide, but that is Trafford King on the final lap of the race up to third position. Dave Martin trying to find his way through on the inside through the right-hander as well. Running out of space very, very closely here as it's still Martin on the inside line of Ash Hill. But Ash Hill should just be able to hang on to that spot coming through Siemens. Meanwhile, it's going to be a clean sweep of victories in the opening meeting of the 2023-24, 24-25 750 Cup Sim Series, the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup. Clean swept by Jake Hewlett. Jackson Carden makes it 2 podium finishes. Now a best finish of second position, Trafford King. Great last lap pass. The third position, Ash Hill in 4th. Dave Martin in 5th. Rory Mallinson in 6th. Callum Neve in 7th. Adam Stockton in 8th. Alex Harron 9th. And Ben Chapman completing the top 10. That was a cracking night of racing right there. Last few cars to come across the line. Andrew Cooper there ahead of James King. Completing the top 20. That's the last spot where the points go down to. Mark Crawford here is just going to miss out on them. Comes across the line in 21st position. And that is everything from the opening meeting of the season for the 2024-25 750 Motor Club Sim Series. An absolute clean sweep of victories for Jake Hewlett. He came into tonight with no official victories in the Sim Series. He's leaving with 3 of them, and certainly does seem to be a match for reigning champion Trafford King. Now, how is the reigning champion going to respond in the remaining 6 races of the season? Well, we'll find out in a week's time as we head to the virtual Oulton Park circuit, racing on the international layouts. On the 3rd of December, representing the Calm All Porsche Trophy will be the Porsche Boxster S. We'll go racing in a week's time. And I am hoping we'll be able to hear from Jake Hewlett. Just waiting for confirmation of that, just while we hope to get Jake into the box. And so while we wait, I will just remind everyone, once again, get your entries in for the Plum Pudding races, the Boxing Day race meeting at Mallory Park, because the order you enter in is the order you're going to start in. And so definitely get your entries in while you can. And if you've got a trophy to collect, or even if you don't have a trophy to collect and you just fancy a good party and to congratulate your fellow competitors from the 750 Motor Club, awards night tickets for the Leonardo Hotel in Hinckley. are now available as well. So head to 750mc.co.uk for more information on all the latest news from the home of affordable motorsport. Sadly, it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to hear from Jake Hewlett, and so we will wrap up for the night, and we'll see you in a week's time at Alton Park for the Calm All Porsche Trophy.